Item number 1, is there any additions to the agenda, Rhonda?
No, Mr. Chairman, there's no additions.
Regina, you want to read in what we're going into closed session for?
Yes, Chairman, there's a whopping 10 items for closed session. There's conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Accounting negotiators are Adrian Caleb. The employee organization is all units. There are 2 real property negotiations under Government Code 54956.8. The properties are listed by address. 1385, one's in Chowchilla and the other is in Madera. The negotiating party for the property in Chowchilla is your County Administrative Officer and Jeffrey Laritzen. The negotiating party is Frank Ross, and under negotiation are the price and terms related to this real property. The negotiating party is your CAO alone, and under negotiation are price and terms of a possible sale, lease, or exchange of the property there in Madera. There are 6 conferences with your attorneys, your legal counsels, related to existing or anticipated litigation. Those are under Government Code Section 54956.9. The existing litigation is under subsection D1, and the anticipated litigations is under subsection D2. The name of the cases are Anita Ross versus the County of Madera, Natina Brown versus the County of Madera, A1 Distributing versus the County of Madera, ACLU of Northern California versus the County of Madera. There is a decision whether to initiate litigation that the board will consider. That's one case. And there is significant exposure to litigation regarding 2 other cases. The last item is public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, and the title of the position that you'll be considering is the Director of Water and Natural Resources. Thank you.
Okay. Any public comment? Okay, we're going to go in closed session. Boys ready? Nope. Nope.
Hello there, Rhonda. Fancy meeting you got going on here.
The mics are off, right? The light's blinking?
Well, they have it muted. I just came here to flip this switch right here.
in here. Not here, okay. Gary, would you do the invocation? Okay. Okay, let's get this thing going, and we're
Not
going
to put you on the spot or anything, Gary.
Oh, I'm not ready yet. Sit down, sit down, sit down. I ain't ready for that yet. That's the way you do it, see?
I know. He was the ordained minister. He married my wife and I, so I
Oh, see, I hit that in the head.
hit that right on the head.
And Adrian, would you do the flag salute? Thank you. And we're going to open and close this meeting in honor of Frazier. You got Supervisor Frazier. You got a couple of people you want to do?
I do, yes. One is Frank Lagaluso. Died peacefully at age 93. He was a very important member of our community, of the farming community. At his peak, farmed over 10,000 acres in 4 counties. Just a wonderful family, wonderful man. So we'll miss him and everything that he's done for our community. And then on last week, one of my uncle, Jim Schmidt, passed away in his sleep in Palm Springs, and one of my favorite people in the world. He was a little eccentric, a little crazy at times, but we loved him, and he would be at a party, and then all of a sudden you just couldn't find him anywhere. He would just leave and just be gone, and even the people that came with him in his car would now need to find a ride home because he was done with the party. So, but love Uncle Jim, and just wanted to open and close in his honor,
Yeah.
as well as Frank Lagaluso.
Yeah. I have 3 from up in eastern Madera County. First one is Michael Steen. He was the owner of the Graydon kennels up there. He was always helping everybody on the SPCA, and I mean, he was just an all-around guy. He got cancer, and he passed away pretty fast from it. Then last meeting, I announced that Patrice Jensen's dad had died. Well, I think it was the day they were burying her dad, her husband had passed away. And you talk about rough, and Patrice has done so much for our community up there, I can't even tell you. And Brad did too, but he's always kind of in the background. He just was a great guy. And then one of my good best friends since I've lived up there, Dot Morris. She was 96 years old, and she sent me a Christmas card, and I don't know what day that she hadn't sent out the Christmas card, but she died December 23rd, and her family didn't tell nobody. And I got this letter from them just this week, and they put things that some of the family said, and I just wanted to read just one thing that I thought was pretty neat. She says, and I don't know if it was a he or her, it said because they don't have names, but not only was she granny, she was a daughter, sister, wife, mother, aunt, WAC veteran, elementary school, artist, volunteer, friend, and the ultimate example of someone who loved unconditionally at all times. And that's the kind of lady she was. She was one of the Norfolk Citizens of the Year in the past, and she's been in a home for the last couple of years, but she was one great lady. So, okay, Gary? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Nelson Waters from Chowchilla, who was the VFW chaplain for post 9896. He was a veteran of Korea, and a wonderful man in the community. He really participated a lot in all the VFW events and the Memorial Day and Veterans Day events. And I remember the first time I met him going door-to-door campaigning, and he invited me. He had just moved to Chowchilla. His son was a pastor of Cathedral of Faith, and he invited me in. We sat down in his living room, and I ended up being there 2 hours.
Did he vote for you?
What a great guy. Absolutely, he did.
Oh, okay. I just want to make
We're
sure.
good friends ever since, and really fine man. And I know that his wife and son are going to miss him, and he will be missed by the community as well. Served as a member of our cemetery board there in Chowchilla as
cool.
well.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
Bill, would you come up here and do that? So, oh, you
No,
can't?
no.
Okay, speak real loud then.
We have a Friday night gospel thing over here at the First Assembly of God Church at the truck stop.
Yeah.
And Nelson, he was the one that always led it off.
Really?
He would do the, we prayed first, and then he would sing 2 or 3 songs. He played the piano and was a singer, and I guess you know his funeral this afternoon at 2 o'clock. But
That's
anyway,
right.
I've known him for 2 or 3 years. He'd always come by and shake hands with me, and, we're good friends.
Good guy then. Okay.
Yeah, his funeral's at the Cathedral of Faith this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Okay, I forgot to ask County Council if is there anything to report out of closed session? I'm sorry.
You knocked out a handful of them, but there's no reportable action.
Okay. We've got a lot of things on closed session. We've got about half of them done, so. Okay, now, Gary and Adrian. Thank you.
Please rise. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us and all the blessings that are involved in this day. We ask your guidance and wisdom over the deliberations of this board and the decisions that they will make this morning. Make sure that your hand is on their shoulder as they decide these things that create the quality of life and the important issues to all the people that they serve. We ask your special blessing on the people who defend our country and the liberty that we enjoy. Be with them and their families as they do their solemn duty. We ask all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary and Adrian. I appreciate that very much.
Great way to start the
Yeah,
day.
I just realized it was 3 years ago tomorrow that Gary married my wife and I. So he dusts off his.
You forgot that you have an anniversary tomorrow?
Oh no, I never forget that.
Remember that one.
Melissa
boy.
won't let me forget that. So
I mean, Gary won't, or Elizabeth?
I have everybody remind me.
Okay.
Are you happy?
Oh, happily.
Hey,
If you ask her, asking her might be a different story for her, but I'm very happy.
Right.
Incredibly happy.
I married up. She married down.
Okay, moving on now. As you can see on our live screen up there, this is our 125th birthday, and so each week, or each meeting anyway, we will have some kind of history that we can report on, a short little thing. So don't forget the 125th anniversary is our little motto is honoring the past, embracing the present, and looking ahead to the future. So the picture there is Fresno Flats, and one of those buildings there is still on 425B up there if you guys want to go by and see. It's really coming down, but it's still there. Founded in 1856, Fresno Flats was a farming town and supply center for lumber and mining at the southernmost edge of the Mother Lode. The name was changed in 2002 after Mrs. C. Myers, tired of the town being known as the place where Charlie robbed the Yosemite stage, circulated a petition among newcomers. Without knowledge or consent of the pioneer families, Fresno Flats became Oakhurst in 1912. Cool. So it's a little deal. There was a lot of stuff been written on that, how that happened. So, and then the other thing we're doing, we're trying to do different items each year for to honor this 125th year. So we've got a logo coloring celebration. I don't know if we could put that up on there or not. And we want to have everybody help us celebrate the 125th anniversary this year. So we have this coloring contest. And this one, the first round is for ages 3 to 12. And there'll be preschool, elementary grades, and are encouraged to participate. So we're going to, and when we get these, we're going to display them in our, what do you call that room out there?
Way.
Huh?
Entryway.
Oh, the entryway, yeah, that's a good place to put it. Yeah. We're going to put them up on the wall so they have their names, their age, and everything on it. And there's going to be, I got a bunch of them here if anybody wants to take them and give them to kids, take them to schools, whatever we can do to promote it.
I'll get some done.
And so I don't know, I think it's a really cool deal, and the team that has been put together to do this, thank you guys and girls for everything that you're doing. So, okay, I'm already passing them out here, going that way.
David, you don't get to
I don't get to enter?
enter, no.
Yeah,
You can have a bracket for me?
Yeah, you are, there is.
There's a
Special.
60-year-old.
See, it's age 3 to 12.
Okay.
Hey, man, I tell you. So,
Oh, okay.
anyway, now we're to see. I got all my little notes here done.
Take out my oil paints.
So, public comments next. Rhonda will read that, but just remember, all of our public hearings, we don't have any today, but will be at 11 o'clock from now on instead of 10 o'clock. So we will, I just want everybody to really know that so that we can get them in a timely manner from now on. And tomorrow, if any of you are not doing anything, it's the Boy Scouts Civics Day. And it starts at 12. What church is that?
United
Methodist Church, and we'll all gather there and have lunch, and then we'll take the scouts. Each one of us take a separate one. We're going to have a mock board meeting over at the old county courthouse museum.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, it'd be neat, 'cause we can't use ours, and we didn't want to ask the city to keep bugging about using this, so we're going to have it in the old courthouse, and then some of the ladies are going to dress up in old clothes and actually take the kids around and give them the tour of that facility, and it's something we ought to really, it's in all, it's on all of our stuff, the building of it, and the kids need to learn what Madera came from. So, and that granite building, it was all that granite from up at Raymond, right here in Madera County, so it's kind of unique. So, now then, we're going to move on. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Well, you read that pretty fast. Is there any additions to the agenda that we needed to add, anybody? Regina, nothing?
Chairman, no, I think you asked that at the beginning of the meeting, the clerk of the board.
Well, I know, I thought that was for the closed session, though.
No additions.
Okay. Okay. Public comment. Line them up. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Hi, I'm blessed. It's me, Hallie. Hi, guys. Retrain the Village. Always love the county meeting. In front of you is a presentation for the future. So I guess that's item 3. And,
It's,
you know,
oh,
yes, I've been through the Veterans Administration with Leonard, and there was supposed to have been a presentation of how to help the veterans, and then consequently he left. So I'm back, and I'm still here to help not only just the veterans, but the community. In front
did you
of
state your name?
Hallie Crum, 16236 North Lake.
Thank you.
Oh, I apologize. I love you, Max. Anyway, the handout in front of
You
you.
provided a handout?
That's this right here, Tom, the
Yes.
retraining the village.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, we got it.
Yes, I don't want to be out of order, so I just wanted you guys to look it over and see if this is asking permission. What do you want in your county at that home? I'm on the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care now. I've participated in the homeless count.
Oh,
I've
good.
participated in the outreach to the homeless at Hope House. I've participated in a lot of things, but the the memorandum of understanding and working together as a collaborative effort is the need.
Well, we thank you very much for that, very much.
I'm here still, and I'm just asking for permission to present in front of you guys. You'll have something to look at until we put it up and see if this is something that you want for the future of Madera.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll look at it. We can't do nothing today, you know, we can't make those decisions, but we'll look at it, and then we'll have staff get a hold of you if there's something we can put on the agenda in the future.
And
Thank you.
we do have a new Veteran Services Officer, so Curtis Foster, you may want to go over and introduce yourself
Go
to
introduce
him.
yourself. He's a great
and just,
guy.
Pick it back up where you left off with Leonard. I think it would be a good...
Okay, and in the presentation is all of the success stories that I've already done at the other unit in the Bay Area, which is really hard. They're $3,000 a month for a studio. So I'm pretty sure if we can do it then on a shoestring budget, we'll have a great future in Madera. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
servant's
very
heart.
much.
Thank you.
Hello, Stevie.
Good morning. Chairman Wheeler, Supervisors, Stevie McNeil, Madera County Agricultural Commissioner. And besides being the Agricultural Commissioner, I'm also the sealer of weights and measures for Madera County. And that's all about equity in the marketplace and fairness in commerce. And we have approximately 5,600 commercial devices registered that we test in Madera County. Now, the difference between a commercial device and a non-commercial device, a good example is in the grocery market, in the produce, the hanging scales, you put your bananas in or something, there's no seals on those. That's like a check weight. But when you go to the checkout scanner, that's where the compensation is computed, and those will have our seals on it. And so we have all sorts of things that we have seals on: jeweler scales, delicatessen scales, gas pumps, submeters, livestock scales, you know, you name it. So we're testing the accuracy to make sure that there's fairness in the marketplace. And when we do that, we affix a seal to it saying that we have tested it for accuracy, and that's for the public to see and know that, you know, we're watching out for them. CDFA, the California Department of Food and Agriculture, specifies what needs to be on these seals, but we do have a little leeway on what we can do with them. And a few years back, we actually tried incorporating the logo, but the quality of the seals since then has improved because there was fading, there was peeling, and this type of thing. And so that has improved. So our CAO saw another county, we'll not mention who it is or anything, that they had incorporated some more colors and their logo into it, and he goes, well, why don't we try that? And I thought, especially considering the new design of our logo, which makes it very much easy to reproduce, not so much fine art in there and everything, that would be a good idea. So I ordered some new ones, and I think that this is going to help in the branding of Madera County, and this is something that's going to be very visible to the public. And I've handed samples out there to you. And we'll be in a transition period as the old ones come up for testing, but we'll be putting the new ones out there, and I think good idea from our CAO and helpful to the branding of Madera County.
Really great. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks great. The other one looked like, you know, it could have
Kind
been
of-
from any agency, anywhere. It doesn't look...
They say each year it has to be blue or it has to be red, but kind of is meh, you know,
Yeah.
the way it was. And so this kind of gets your attention, again, helps in the branding of Madera County. So good idea, CAO, and hopefully get some more branding out there to the public for Madera County.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Nice.
Thanks for being proactive.
I always see them
like
on the gas pumps. That's where I see them most of the time.
I always look at the dates when they're starting,
Yeah,
see if
I
they're
do too.
accurate or not, see if I'm getting my right amount of gallons when I put it in my pickup. So, thank you, Stevie.
Do these go on the scales at my doctor's office? Because I think they're wrong.
Those are non-commercial scales, but sometimes we do go to doctors' offices and do that, but, you know, that's kind of something between your doctor.
Yeah. Thank you.
Craig, good morning.
Good morning, board members. Lieutenant Craig Hinch with the California Highway Patrol. I'm the commander of the Oakhurst office. Just wanted to share a few things that are going on up in the Oakhurst area in the upcoming month or so. February the 16th, we're going to be having a coffee with the cop from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning. That's at the Starbucks in Oakhurst.
February what?
16th.
Sure.
So encourage everybody to stop by and say hello and chat a little bit. On March 15th, we're doing another Age Well, Drive Smart class at the office there in Oakhurst on Highway 49. That would be from 10 to 12. And if anybody's interested, to give the office a call and speak with Officer Lutz, Officer Casey Lutz. And then on March 22nd, the Madera County Job Fair will be at the Community Center from 2 to 6. And we encourage anyone that would be interested in participating or a job as a dispatcher or as a uniformed officer, stop by and talk to one of our people there, pick up some materials. Always looking for dispatchers and additional uniform officers.
If you could get me those, some kind of a little flyer deal, I'll put them on Facebook and stuff too.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He does a great job, Juan.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah. Good morning, Tristan. He had to sign his life away, so,
Yeah.
we got to do this right.
No, I just wanted to make a quick presentation to the board just to let you know that on January 29th...
You got to say your name
Oh, sure.
first. Yeah, we know it, but some people don't.
Yeah, sure. Tristan Champ. I'm the Grant Services Manager for Madera County, and although I live in Fresno, but...
You're moving.
Yeah. But anyways, on January 29th, I submitted a grant to the California Transportation Commission 2018 Local Partnership Program. The grant was a partnership between the Madera County Transportation Authority and the County of Madera. And the nominating agency and the fiscal sponsor was the Madera County Transportation Authority. And we would be the Madera County would be the implementing agency. And we applied for $5 million in grant funding with a match of approximately $6.2 million from Measure T funding. And that funding was already allocated according to the Transportation Authority. And the project is for to complete the Oakhurst Midtown Connector. And this project has been on the books much longer than I've been with the county. And basically the project involves construction of a new 2-lane road connecting State Route 41 with Indian Springs Road, and including a bridge over the Nedler Creek. And it also includes intersection construction at State Route 41 and the Midtown Connector, including a traffic signal and widening of 41. And the project also includes intersection improvements at Road 427 and Indian Springs Road. And the whole point of this project is to address traffic concerns in that southeast Oakhurst area
too,
and access, because currently I believe it's Road 427 is the only access point for that entire area of the town to State Route 41 and the other parts of Oakhurst. And so hopefully by creating the Midtown Connector, we provide another access point and help relieve traffic congestion and improve safety in the event of a fire or other natural disaster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well
Glad
done.
you got that in.
So I just wanted to let you know that we had submitted the application, and it looks...
What, you think we got a pretty good chance?
I think we do.
Great.
And
So we approved that project, 5 years ago or so?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
beautiful. Ahmad, thank you, Tristan, very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Al-Kayat, Public Works Director. Just to thank you, Tristan, for his help with this grant. I just want to emphasize one thing that's very, very important for all Maderians to know. Without Measure T and us to have some self-funding mechanism, which is Measure T, we will not even have the opportunity to apply for this grant.
Yeah.
So this is one of the benefits of these measures. So just want to clarify that. And I know it's been in the books for years. Chairman Wheeler, it's your area. But we're hoping summer of 2019 or end of 2019, if everything lines up perfectly, we should start construction.
I thought we were this year.
depending on how the stars line up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Ahmad, I want to thank you and your staff for continually forcing the issue in the ranchos and getting that consolidation, getting the $6.6 million grant to do a new well, a new site, and hook up Valley Teen Ranch to get those kids water that have not had potable water for almost 8-10 years now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, thanks to staff as well. They really worked hard on it. And just for your information, last week, Mohammed and Alvina hosted about 10 companies that came to the job walk. So hopefully we'll get some good bids for that.
Good.
And if I may, one more item. Was it last week or the week before? Last meeting we've had Linda, the last name escapes me, she's the architect that was designing a guest house for that, for the elderly couple
180
at
square foot home.
correct,
Yeah.
and we're telling them that as the books stand or as the rules are, the road impact fees are $10,539 for that zone. So we did some more investigating, and with the help of council, we came to basically we were able, since the term guest house is not part of our road impact fee schedule, so we made an educated decision that we compared it to other applicable fee, which is basically treated as a hotel room with one-bedroom hotel room, which lowered the impact fee to about $2,200. So I called Linda. They're all happy. And step 2 will be us including and updating our fee schedule.
Great.
So that will come to the board near you. We thought it's
Thank
proper.
you. Max has got a question.
Way to apply logic.
Ahmad, I went down last week on cleaning up the river. We had 2 sheriff deputies there, and they were doing a good job down there. But a statement was made while I was there that said the decision had been made that the county of Madera is fully responsible for the cleanup of the river now. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not sure about the fully. I mean, yes, we are responsible to clean it, but that does not mean that neighboring agencies cannot lend a hand.
Well, it should be Madera County and the city of Madera and MID should form a partnership so that we're all together cleaning up that river. To just say the county or the city or MID is just too big of a job.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about it. Again, that's a board decision, but we're going to work towards that.
We're way over the 3 minutes. You got 2 things on here that shouldn't have been talked about in public comment. You got to bring that dollar deal back for agenda item and bring this back to agenda.
Next week I will have a good flood control presentation for you. That's
thank
what I'm
you.
working on. Thank you.
Anybody else in public comment? Seeing none. Moving on. Okay. The consent calendar. Any board members got any questions on it? Seeing none. The public, any comments on the consent calendar? Seeing none. What's your pleasure?
Move for approval.
Second.
First and second over here. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. No public hearings, so we got item 7. Jay, would you like to move yours up in front of this? You got a thing you got to go to? Is that okay with you, Joel? We're going to move item 7C up. Good morning, Jay.
7C, Sheriff Coroner's Department, Explorer and Research and Rescue Programs. 1, discussion and consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing the sheriff to accept present and future donations on behalf of the county and for exclusive use by the sheriff for the Explorer and Search and Rescue Programs. 2, discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 17-044 in the amount of $8,256,256.74 derived from Sheriff Explorer Program contributions and donations to special departmental expense and transportation, travel, education for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required. 3, discussion and consideration of approval of a receipt of unanticipated revenue number 17-056 in the amount of $1,094.17 derived from Sheriff Search and Rescue Program, contributions and donations to special departmental expense for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required.
Okay. Good morning, Board. Jay Varney, Madera County Sheriff. These items are very similar, and they are two of the three main volunteer groups that we have, the Boy Scout Explorers and the Search and Rescue Program. Currently, they're both funded in manners that probably aren't the best practice. Definitely the Boy Scouts was not. We had staff members who were actually managing the money kind of as a third party, members of the advisors and people who were intimately involved in the decisions they were making were excellent, but it really shouldn't be on them to be handling this money. So what we're requesting the board is to establish an account here at the county so that when donations are made, we can put that money directly into an account. And as the advisors make a request, say, for attendance at Riverside has an annual event that we send folks to. We sent the young folks to events in Merced County last year where they were quite successful. We wanted to be able to have a nice best practice kind of flow of the money so that it's perfectly trackable and everyone can see where the money goes. And the same with the Search and Rescue. The Search and Rescue originally had a nonprofit. It's difficult to get their board members together and to move the money along. So in the future, if folks want to give money to a nonprofit who will move the money into Search and Rescue, they could give that to the Sheriff's Foundation. And then the Sheriff's Foundation, on the request of the Search and Rescue folks, would move money over to the county, and then the county would track this money through the accounts that are established here with these initial dollar amounts, which are the balances that they currently have in their financial accounts. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board members? Seeing none, any from the public? What's your pleasure, board?
I move to approve.
Second.
A second from Brett. Roll call.
That's all items to...
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Good. Now we'll go back to 7A.
7A, County Administration Department. Presentation on the status of the fiscal year 2017-18 budget and the county's short and long-term financial projections.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. And before Joel Bugay gets into the details of the update today, I would just wanted to touch on a couple things. Mainly our financial condition is solid, and that's supported by our recent credit rating increase, going from an A to a AA rating. And that will improve even more once we adopt a formal reserve policy, which will be one of the recommendations today. As you'll be reminded of today, we fell off the fiscal cliff in 2010. Unlike other cities and counties, your board made difficult decisions to restructure our organization. Operating costs were quickly brought in line with revenues, and that's paying off today, 7 years later. Other cities and counties continue to struggle. Current headlines read looming increases in CalPERS could bankrupt cities and counties. That's not the case in Madera County. It will have a significant impact, but we have a plan to address the unknown increases, or the known increases. Let's give credit where credit is due. None of this could have been possible without your board setting aside political differences to make the financial health of this organization a priority. Your board deserves credit for directing and supporting our financial turnaround over the last 7 years. Our management team deserves the credit for executing and making it happen. We have a group of managers that control operating costs and protect and generate revenues very well. In my opinion, it's been a successful team effort, but it needs to continue. We still have challenges ahead, which Joel's going to get into now.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joel Bugay, County Administrative Office. Joined here today with Mr. Gary Savannah, County Assessor. Our two offices work together to put this presentation together, looking at role values, as you will see in the subsequent slides. So we would like to begin the presentation today to give you a quick update of our fiscal year 2017-18 budget. Overall, as of mid-year, end of December 31st, 2017, county expenditures stand at 41% of budgeted amounts. This is comfortably within our set benchmarks for the budget, which is at 48%. It's lower than 50% because expenditures pick up during the second half of the year. For example, one-time costs such as workers' comp and general liability insurance hits in the second half of the year, as well as contracts catch up. General fund revenues stand at 47% of budgeted amounts, which is normal for this time of the year. Most third-party revenues are 2 months behind, so that's dead on projected amounts for the current fiscal year. Short and long-term outlook. Gary Savanda would provide a brief presentation on our role values. I'm going to hand it over the podium to them.
Thank you, Joel. And Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Gary Savanda, Madera County Assessor. The long-term trends that we've identified present a strong residential construction element and continued economic development efforts with your formation of your EIFD, the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. They're expected to have a very positive impact to the commercial and industrial activity throughout the county. This will also help you to diversify the tax base and provide stability in tax revenues that support critical services to the public that we all serve. If you look at the property tax assessed values and where our roll values come from, you find that 50% of our roll values is from residential. And obviously with the expansion of the Tesoro Viejo and the Riverstone projects, that will be an expanding element of the total that we have for assessed valuations. And it's increasing at a rather increasing rate because they're not building 150,000 homes. Those are wonderfully built $300,000 to $400,000 to $500,000 homes, and you put 2 or 3 of those on an acre, and you got $1 million to $1.5 million additional assessed value. So the increase in the property tax percentage is very strong as a projection over the next 3, 5, maybe even 10 years. In agriculture, we find a little different scenario. Obviously, with agriculture here in Madera County, we are highly tied to the almond, pistachio, and the grape industries. And what we find is, with the agricultural valuation, because almonds have had such a dramatic decrease over the last 2 years, we use a rolling 3-year element to define what the value of each acre of ag land that is productive with almonds to be. And because we have 2 bad years and 1 good year, the valuation continues to decline. But the good news is, in the same time, lots of additional acres are coming on board. They are fallow for 5 years, but after the 5th year, you become picking up the valuation of those new areas that have been planted. And because when the valuation was at $4 and above, lots of additional acres were planted. So those are coming into productivity currently. So the drop in price is offset by the additional productivity that we're seeing in the ag sector. And that being 30% of your roll value, 50% growing rather rapidly, and 30% retaining its value, that leaves a mere 20% in commercial and industrial. And as I said before, the tools that you now have in your toolbox, EIFDs, more rooftops being created in eastern Madera County that need retail, need commercial, need jobs, and you're doing a wonderful, aggressive job at trying to attract those job creators into Madera County. I think all 3 sectors of your property tax are looking pretty good for not only the short term, but for your long-term comparison. So, strong residential growth expected with Rio Mesa development, declining prices offset by productivity increases, and steady commercial values expected to grow as the Rio Mesa development reaches its critical mass.
Oh, yeah, we got a question here.
For Gary, yeah. Just want to make sure that we're keeping up on your personnel so that you have the tools you need. You're the breadwinner, so to speak, in this ball game, and we want to make sure that that you have what you need to accomplish that in an adequate amount of time.
I appreciate that so much, Supervisor Rogers. You were gracious enough to allow our department to apply for matching funds about 3.5 years ago from a state, we called it SCAPA program. State and county participated in matching funds, and you were generous enough to provide us with $150,000 matching funds for 3 consecutive years. That created $900,000 additional monies that were allocated to our department. With that, we have caught up the work that we were behind so desperately that was created when we had to furlough and do the things that the CAO had talked about with people. But we caught that work up, and then we leveraged that money. I did it with overtime and the people we had in place. Everybody made a little more money, and we still caught the work up, but we didn't layer in additional long-term employees. And we also used technology to leverage the ability of the people that were still there. And now we're in pretty good shape. I strictly appreciate the offer there, but I believe with your help from the prior 3.5 years, we're going to be in pretty good stead going forward. Now, there is a new program that was in the governor's budget that affords counties, all 58 of us, a little over $5 million going forward. And if the opportunity comes up again to participate in maybe a 2 or 3 year grant program where you use 50% of their money and 50% of ours, I'll be coming back and asking to leverage those monies. But thank you. I certainly appreciate that, but I think we're in great shape right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, for your great work.
Thank you, Gary. So we work with Gary's office to look at a 25-year trend of our roll value. As you can see in front of the graph, over 25 years, the county has almost tripled its roll value. The red dotted line shows the percentage change year on year in the roll value. So you can see between 2008 and 2011 during the recession, and prior to that is just the boom years. But the conclusion to draw from this graph is that if you eliminate the boom and bust cycle, our roll value is increasing between 3 to 5% consistently over 25 years. The dotted blue line is a trend line that we base our budget on, which is at 3% growth every year. And as you can see, from 2015, 2016, and 2017, we are dead on in that trend line.
1 second, Joel, before you go any further, and you look at that, that minus 8.4% on the red lines.
Yes, sir.
I came on in 07, January, and we were pretty good, but then in 08, that's when the hell hit a handcart, I'll tell you. And we were $12 to $13 million in the red.
Right.
And Eric and the team came to us that budget year and said, we have a new plan to get out of debt. And it was a 3-year plan. And I just want to, I know you weren't part of it then, but you working on it now. I just want to thank staff again, how we stuck to that plan, and this is what we've done since then. So, and I think the way our team that we have now, I don't think that's going to happen to us. We're not going to be overspending. We're not, just like Gary said, he didn't hire more people. When I came on, we had almost 1,700 employees, and we went down to about 700, 800. And now we're up to a level that really fits our county, and we're efficient, mean, and get things done. So I just wanted to brag a little bit about what you guys are doing and what we as a board took the bull by the horns and got us out of that big, bad, red $12 million debt that now we're kind of going. Yes, Dave.
Yeah, I want to add to that. You know, we consolidated. We eliminated a lot of unnecessary we had departments that had too many heads, and we eliminated that. We sold off surplus properties, and we really
combined departments.
Yeah, we combined departments. We moved We centralized, decentralized operations. They got rid of the RMA. Now we have a great community development program as well as economic development. And all of those things combined, this is no accident. This is very successful, very, very successful,
Great plan.
recognized by Standard & Poor's with that AA rating, and also recognized by NACO and CSAC for our budgeting prowess. We are among the top in our peers everywhere in the nation in doing this, and this was a group effort that paid off big time. Success doesn't just happen, it's planned for and executed with intelligence and evaluated along the way. So we really can thank staff, we can thank the Board of Supervisors for enacting these policies that made this big change. And we've survived and we've done it very well.
Thank you. Okay, you ready now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Supervisor.
You just raised about 6 inches off the ground, so
It looks taller.
So, Supervisor, you made an excellent point in when the times are growing, the significance of the trend line is to keep us in line with what the long-term trend would be. So budgeting at 3%, the point of trend line showed that if we budget along our 25-year trend, during a boom years, we can't budget expecting 10% growth every year. So that's the purpose of showing the trend line. This next graph is taking it a bit further. So the previous graph was the roll value. So we look at roll value because that directly influences our discretionary revenues. This graph is graphing our property tax collections, sales tax collections, and hotel motel tax. Combined, that covers about 74% of our discretionary revenues. So you can see the 3 red bars. Those are the value changes in revenue over the recession. We've been steadily growing since then.
Did you say 74% of our discretionary dollars?
Comes from property taxes, sales taxes, and hotel motel taxes.
Good. I wanted to make that real clear.
Yes, sir. So we took that trend line and projected it out for the next 3 fiscal years. The dark blue bars on the right of this graph presents what we expect to increase in discretionary revenues beginning fiscal year 2018-19 and ending in fiscal year 2020-21. That's reflecting a 3.4% growth right along that trend line.
Again, I think it's important to note that this is 74% of our discretionary revenues. That doesn't mean that of all of our revenues, 74% is discretionary. It's
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an excellent point, Supervisor.
Very excellent point.
So with that trend, we expect to increase between 1 million and 1.8 each year over the next 3 fiscal years in available discretionary revenues to the board. So now that we've given you the good news and the positive, we want to touch on the challenges. As revenues grow, so does our cost. As we experience inflation, the number one cost driver for us are benefit costs. It accounts for salary and benefit costs accounts about 50% of our general fund budget, and a big chunk of that is CalPERS cost. Reforms that the CalPERS board has approved over the past year is a positive on the CalPERS fund, but ultimately it's costing every agency more in employee contributions, and that's going to be phased in over the next 3 fiscal years. On top of that, the CalPERS board is considering additional financial policy changes that would again further help the fund with long-term sustainability, but again what that translates to us is that our employer contributions could increase further. Health costs, insurance costs are also increasing. Plan year 2018 is an 11% increase from the plan year 2017. Working with HR, we don't expect that trend to slow down, so we're expecting another 11% increase beyond that. As a total, retirement and health costs is increasing as a percentage of salary 7 to 9% per year through fiscal year 2021.
That number, 7.9%, and we're only gaining 3% per year, something's going to clash somewhere down the line.
I'm sorry, to clarify the 3% for...
You said the projected cost is 7 to 9% per year, and previously you said that
That's a small percent.
our
our revenues.
Things
Total
raised,
revenues.
you know, 3%,
Total revenues.
Total revenues. We'll actually have a comparison because it's applied to a different base, but we'll show that to you in the next few slides. So what we wanted to show here is that if we had level salaries over the next 3 fiscal years, we wanted to show what the benefit cost increases will be for us just by known increases on CalPERS and projected increases in health benefits. The second bar is our current year. The first bar is 16-17, the previous year. If you can see, we're growing between $2 million to $4 million a year through 2020-21 just on benefit cost increases alone. What that translates to is that currently, for every dollar salary, 53 cents, it costs us 53 cents for benefit costs. That 53 cents will grow to 67 cents in 2020-21 just by the CalPERS and health benefit increases alone. That's a 26% increase over 3 fiscal years.
Policies are getting worse.
This is, we wanted to compare, the bottom line is what's the net county cost of that increase. So that the increase in benefits costs over the next 3 fiscal years, that translates to about $1 million in net county costs for 18-19 and $1.4 million for 19-20 and 20-21. If we take our projected growth in tax revenues, that 3% over the next 3 fiscal years, we're basically in line with that. There's a little surplus in it, but basically our discretionary revenue growth is keeping up with the benefit cost increases. So this is what we wanted to compare between the 3% revenue growth and the 7 to 9% increase in benefit costs. We have unknowns and challenges and opportunities, so it's not just, benefit costs. We wanted to show that, what's still unknown is the full impact of the SGMA law. That's implementations in place. We don't really know the full impacts until we're well into that process and the plans are developed. Your board has taken steps to mitigate future liabilities. The annual leave cash out program is a step in that right direction to mitigate future liabilities. Of course, the biggest unknown that we have is whatever the state and federal governments are going to do that impacts us. So that's probably the biggest year-on-year game changer that can happen. Other opportunities that your board has employed to mitigate future liabilities are, a solid capital improvement and maintenance plan. Dollars spent now in maintenance and, maintaining our facilities is, $2 avoided on emergencies. Your board has approved a fire equipment replacement policy, and we're sticking to that policy. So we're avoiding the peaks and valleys of capital expenditures and safety equipment. Your board has approved a county vehicle lease program pilot that we're going to test for the next 12 months, which is designed for us to level the cost of maintaining our county fleet and be more nimble at sizing the fleet based on needs, and conducting ongoing budget reviews and long-term planning and revenue projections, such as we're being provided to your board today. As Eric had mentioned, we will also be coming to your board in a future board date with a recommended reserve policy. I would like to note that the county has a reserve policy. It's not a formal policy. Standard & Poor's and rating agents consider it an informal reserve policy, but there is a reserve policy. And your board, over the 4 fiscal years, have grown this to $4.9 million in budgetary reserves. On top of that, there is $500,000 in a fire asset replacement reserve, and consistently budgeting $2.4 million in contingency in the budget, which helps smooth out unforeseen expenses that occur during the fiscal year. A formal policy will formalize several components. One is that it will establish a target percentage for reserves based on the board's goal. For example, if we set a 12% goal for a target reserve, what that would do is that if we encounter a great recession magnitude of a downturn, we would have at least half painful cuts that we would have to make. So just to look at the scale of what 12% would do. A formal reserve policy will also establish methodology for calculating the target. Is it 12% of what? General fund discretionary, so your board would decide on what that target would be, and also the time frame for achieving the target. Most reserve policies set a 3-year, most of the policies that we looked at that's implemented in California set a 3-year time frame to achieve the percentage target. Because it's a percentage of something, it can always increase. So it's always a moving target. And again, lastly, probably the most important is a formalized criteria for utilization or replenishment of the reserves. why we're coming forward with a proposed formal policy at your board's direction from last budget. One of the main benefits of that is the impact on credit rating agencies. So that's one of the things that firms like Standard & Poor's look at. In our recent credit upgrade, that is one of the things. We got credit for having an informal policy, but we've gotten communication that if you formalize this, this would, you know, better in terms of the rating.
Brett?
Good report. I mean, the outlook is good. I think, you know, a lot of those tough decisions were made before my time, but I like to sit up here and take credit for them, too.
Why not?
You know, we've continued it on, and I think we've done a good job keeping that. I really like any formal policy that we bring forward. I think it has to have, like, continue to separate out the appropriations for contingencies. Because before we would set aside the budgetary reserve, and then every time that we needed something and it was important and there was things that needed to happen, we'd dip into that, and that's where I think it starts to get dicey, because if that pot of money is always open and available, then it's not truly a reserve, right? It's just a piggy bank.
Right.
You know, I don't want to call it a slush fund. That's not what it was, but you want to avoid that, and so separating those two out, because we know there's going to be things that come up in the year, and we don't want to always have our hands tied and can't find any money to do matching. You know, there can be a grant that opportunity that arises that we can really leverage our money, and so we have to make sure that we separate those out and have a formal policy for that. Appropriations for contingencies. Also, if in there it says, like, these are the kind of things that we can dip into that for, so that it isn't just like a free-for-all. On the, as far as like a target percentage for reserves, when it does get, is there any way that in years that it is a recession and there's issues, can there be like a floor and a ceiling on in different years, or does it just have to be set for the entire time that 12% is the number, or can we in rainy days have it where it can go down to 10% or still like a healthy reserve, but
Right. I think those are the considerations that your board would have to weigh in on when we move forward. Those are definitely features of reserves that we've seen in other counties. There is, I believe it's in City of San Diego, where in a recession year, basically the target is suspended. So your board can establish a floor. Your board can also establish a minimum. We've seen some policies where the minimum reserve should cover debt service payments for worth over a year or two.
Yeah,
and then there establish a high target. But most, in practicality, hover around that number.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'd like our approach to budgeting in that it's not budgeting by emergency and disaster and fear. It's just trying to look at ahead, try and be steady, have good numbers, and then budget based on those. The important part, now that we've got ourselves out of debt, is making sure that we do have that healthy reserve to be able to sit on, keep our good footing, and just we don't need to have a quick shoot up like that and then we'll shoot down. And I like our nice steady approach to this, and we didn't get into the issues in 1 year, and we're not going to get out of them in 1 year. So just I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. I think we have a great approach to budgeting. We're not reaction based, but we're actually looking forward, and that's how a budget should be done.
Thank you. David?
Much unlike the state of California, who is very reactive.
Well, they don't have to turn in a budget.
They really don't. Yeah. Unfortunately, they can't print money either.
Okay,
like the federal.
moving on.
Well, I wanted to state that under Sigma, I know you stated that as an unknown. I want to point out that we are proactive in that area as well. We just had a meeting yesterday with staff on the idea of mitigations that we can put in place and efforts to stem the tide of SGMA and aid what they call white areas, unserved areas outside of water districts. And we're making some good progress on some thoughts in those areas. Yep. Another area that wasn't discussed is debt payoff. We paid off $8 million worth of debt previously in the year 2011, which was an important component of this
$12
move
million
forward.
debt that year before you
We had a
came on.
$12 million hole in 2011 when I came on the board, and we sewed up that hole, and we paid off that $8 million worth of debt, and we restructured debt as well as a result of our good credit rating, got lower interest rates, so the debt was restructured, and that moves us in a positive direction, as well as the energy retrofit and solar program, which over a period of years is going to mean huge benefits to the county in terms of preparation for these raises in employee benefits and what have you. I think that's all I wanted to point out, and I really appreciate also the steady approach to budgeting. That's the way I like to live my life, is steady. I think we all appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, thank you so much. I think it's great to have the mid-year review. It lets everybody know where we are, and it's important for us to know. And I don't think we can understate or underestimate the challenges that are facing us. There was a article on Cal Matters written by Dan Walters on February 4th, and the title of the article was "Surging Pension Costs Push More California Cities Towards Bankruptcy." And I would encourage, Mr. Dowd, you might want to look up that article, and I would encourage everybody to read that, because it talks about...
I did.
You did, yeah. It's scary.
He writes good articles.
Yeah, he really does. And it's 482 California cities. They're all facing potential bankruptcy if reform doesn't take place because of pension increases. And I'm just going to read a little excerpt from the article. It says, CalPERS just has 68% of the money it projects to need to cover pension promises to millions of current and future retirees, down from 101% a decade earlier. Also, the discount rate's down to 7%. However, a Stanford study says that the discount rate is unrealistically high, even at 7%. CalPERS' own staff says it cannot count on more than 6.1% in the next decade, partly because CalPERS is shifting to a more conservative investment strategy. If we have to go to 6%, you know, it's going to blow these projections out of the water, right, and we're going to be in the red. And so I just, you know, have to, again, can't overemphasize the need for us to be, you know, fiscally conservative and responsible, and to keep looking at this, always being aware. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Great job, team. As I can say, I don't think we missed a beat with Joe after Kevin left. I think we've been going right on as steady as Eric put this all together when he took over. And the only thing I would like to do on all my PowerPoints and papers you guys give me, I like numbers on the pages, so that when we want to refer back to talk to somebody, we can say that particular page, you can't find it. If we have a number, we can refer to it. So numbers on the pages.
Interesting enough, on my way here, I did notice it. It's like, dang, I didn't have numbers.
You didn't think I'd say nothing, did you? Okay, the public, have anything to say on all this great budget overview for the half of the year? Seeing none? There's no, let's see. No, it's just no action. So thank you very much. Thank you, team. Thank you, Gary, Joel.
Excellent.
Eric, all the rest of you in the backgrounds that helps on this. Can't tell you how lucky we are, I think, right now with our staff. Mm-hmm. Okay, 7B.
7B, Public Works Department, Municipal Services Division. Proposition 84, Round 3, Planning Grant for the Development of an Emergency Action Plan. 1, discussion to consideration to adopt a resolution authorizing the grant application for the Madera County Flood Emergency Response Project. 2, discussion and consideration of approval to authorize the Public Works Director to prepare and submit the grant application package for the development of the Emergency Action Plan, also referred to as an Emergency Action Project.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Al-Kayat, Public Works Director. With me here is Mr. Dario Dominguez, our flood control engineer. The reason we're here is to get this resolution to authorize us to submit the local emergency, to submit this grant application for the Madera County Flood Emergency Response Project. I'd like to just give a quick overview of what is involved in this project. The purpose of this grant is to provide funding for local emergency responders to work with Department of Water Resources to improve the local flood emergency preparedness and response. The local agencies, as first responders, play a key role in management of flood emergencies in their jurisdictions. To qualify for any FEMA emergency funding, we must have this plan. Right. And I will give quickly just an overview and what are the deliverables, what we will get out of this plan. We're asking for about $720,000, and the overall project goal is to create a sustainable, regional, integrated flood response structure and preparedness in partnership with the foundations of which is highly qualified, of high quality, thorough, and user-friendly local flood emergency action plans, evacuation maps, plans, and unified command system to guide field response to an incipient flood problem or threat. Number one, what we will get out of this plan, our goal is to set off a GIS-based local flood emergency plan covering the areas of highest flood risk within Madera County that are consistent with FEMA regulations. And two, we will set off regionally consistent public safety evacuation maps of cities of Chowchilla and Madera and select communities facing significant flood risk. And also we will have a county-wide unified command structure and enhanced multi-agency communication and coordination system. We will also be able to do some training with staff and exercise programs to ensure local compliance with the national incident management systems and the standardized emergency management systems, which are basically computer plans, just like our payment management system. Also, critical flood fight materials. We will be able to purchase materials and, if needs be, real estate to store those materials so they are ready in case of a flood emergency. I'm here, I don't know if the sheriff is here, but other agencies, and I'd like to thank the sheriff's office for their letter of recommendation, because letters of support are essential in this grant. All affected agencies need to be with us in this grant. So we received one from the sheriff's office, from the Lower San Joaquin Levee District, from Madera Irrigation District, and from the Chowchilla Water Company, District. Now, we are waiting for the city of Chowchilla and the city of Madera because they are pending the resolution when they go to their board next time. Tomorrow, Daria and I will be here just to support the city engineer if the council members have any questions about this grant. With this said, I mean, this was a quick grant. It opened, and we have a short window. This is a Proposition 84, grant phase 3. So we took advantage of it, and hopefully we will get it. We are highly, I have good hopes about this because counties have the high priority on these grants.
Did Tristan help with this too?
Actually, with this one, he did not. His plate was pretty full, and we only had 4 weeks to submit everything with many technical information. I mean, Daria and I were here weekends working on this grant. But definitely, in future plans, which we will come to the board with Tristan. We're going to come here, present some future grant opportunities.
Well, I think that, any of them we do, since we got a manager now.
Absolutely.
That we should let him even look at it for you, even turned it in, just to see if there's any, there's words that you put in grants that trigger responses that we really need. So every little bit would help, and you haven't put it in yet, right?
Actually, the deadline for this was January 29th.
So it's in.
It's in, but they give us 1 month to do any revisions and to get the letters of support, because they do understand some agencies need to go to their board for the resolutions.
And have him just look at it just to make
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
It's
He
not gonna
already
hurt
knows
anything.
about it.
So.
And also the CEQA process, which is a lengthy process. This
Right.
is why. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But we're good to
Any
go.
questions from the board? Any from the audience? What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
First and second, roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you guys very, very much. That's kind of stuff we need to go out and get. All the time. Okay, pending legislation. You got anything, anybody? Seeing none. Got any staff and supervisor report? Rob?
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question. At our retreat last year, we had those 6 or 7 initiatives that we have. Are we going to have a report coming up soon, or are we going to save that for the retreat or to get an update? It seemed like we had one like last September or something, and so.
Yes, Supervisor Poitras, I'll look at the timeline. I thought we had one more recently, but we certainly could do an update prior to the workshop.
Before it, right.
Or, I just, just want to make sure we got it scheduled. Thank
See
you.
if we're doing anything what we said we were going to do.
There you go.
Max?
Rhonda, this is a question for you. How's the work proceeding at our chamber?
I was going to see if Tanya's still here. So right now, we're kind of in limbo. We're in pending, I believe. We're still discussing some of the issues with the payment on the maintenance agreement, our lease agreement. So.
Got something to say? Go ahead. No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay, just to go, Tanya Say, CIO. To provide a quick update, we are moving forward. Last couple weeks ago, we ran into one little snafu because we're leasing the equipment, and what had happened was the vendor wanted the payments in increments in order to, he wanted payments as he went along. And anyways, when we went to get the lease, in order to get the lease that way, would have meant that I would have had to sign saying that everything was completed. So since I wouldn't do that, because we don't want to pay somebody and then not, say the project's completed, so what we had to do is we had to go back through the leasing process and have more documentation created so that we paid in, as work was completed, then we would pay, and then as work was completed, then we would pay. This did cause a small delay. I'm hoping that it won't impact our schedule too much, but at the most it would be 1 or 2 weeks, and to be, it just would have just been, A, I'm not even sure if it's legal for me to sign off on a project that's not completed, and B, no matter what, it's the best thing. It was in the best interest of all of our constituents for us to make sure that we got the work that we
Yeah, that company should have looked ahead and seen that. I mean, that's
and if I
good
could,
business practice.
yes, if I could say one thing on that, I had gone over and I talked to administration a little bit about that. Unfortunately, we had only received one bid for the project. So even if we had said, okay, well, that's not what you put in the contract, we would have been back to square one.
Right.
And at this point, of course, they had already started the work of tearing up the boardroom. So, anyways, but we did get it worked out. We did get it. We got it to where we could move forward. It's going to result in 3 separate leases, but at least then we know that we're paying for things that we've actually received.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Max?
Sure.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize to staff the importance of looking at USDA project grants funds right now, because they are replete with money under the new administration. The grant funds extend from local economic development, rural economic development projects, all the way through water, various other things. Just a plethora of issues covered by these grants. And we do have a friend in the California director of the rural economic development for USDA. She is the head of that. I served with her on RCRC for 8 years, so she is very amiable, told us be sure and make an effort for these grants because they have a lot of money and they'd love to see us get some of it.
Good.
So let's make that effort.
Brett?
I got nothing.
Eric?
Nothing to report, sir.
Virginia? Rhonda?
No, thank you.
Okay, I was just looking in front of this, Joel. There's no color in it, and it hadn't got the 125th on it. Try to get all of our insignias this year and correctly. Thank you. I haven't got nothing I want to read.
Gotta get that yellow in there.
Yeah, it ain't got it in there, man.
We approved ones that had solid color everywhere.
Not for this, though.
Yeah?
I mean, not for this one.
Yeah?
I don't like it. Shut up, Brett.
I'm just saying. You
Okay.
approved it. You probably seconded it.
We're going to go back into closed session for a little bit, and we'll see how long that takes before we break for lunch. And I just want you to look on there. Our next regular board meeting is next Tuesday. It'll be here again. And there's no meeting on the 20th, so if anybody's leaving here, make sure you know that. And because it's after a day after a holiday, and we don't have meetings. We got 5 of those this year, and this will be the 3rd one. So let's go into closed session. Let's finish this thing up.
No reportable action.
Wait,
No reportable action.
no reportable action.
No.
No reportable action?
No reportable action.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we're adjourned, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Close her down. No reportable action.